पतिता पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Welcome to the morning discussion on the Sri Madhurya Kadambini. We'll begin with again reciting the Mangalacharan verses. Ridva bhakti shasya vitate sanjeevani swagama rambe kamatapatarudahdamani विश्वापगुल्लासिनी धूरान्मे मरुशाकिनोऽपि सरसि भावाय भूयात् प्रभु श्रीचैतन्यकृपानिरङ्कुश महा माधुर्य कादम्बिनी श्रीचैतन्य कृपानिरङ्कुश महा माधुर्य कादम्बिनी श्रीचैतन्य कृपानिरङ्कुश महा माधुर्य कादम्बिनी भक्ति पूर्वेशितां तां तु रसं पश्येद्यदात्तधी तं नौमि सततं रूप नाम प्रिय janam हरेः. So yesterday we were discussing, if you remember, the 10th paragraph, and in the 10th paragraph, again, after establishing that bhakti comes from bhakti from a madhyama, then he is still hammering and hammering the post. How bhakti is completely independent. Shreya Shrutim Bhaktis Bhaktim Te Vibho. I don't know why this it's showing this mark. Okay, I'll use this. Okay, so oh, why it's not showing the arrow? Okay. And then we saw this in day before's class, day before yesterday. And then after proving that ultimately all other paths are dependent for giving their fruits on bhakti, and bhakti is not dependent on these. Bhakti is not even dependent even on place, time, and the ingredients. If they are pure or impure, it doesn't matter. And what to speak, it doesn't even depend on the faith. Even with, even if it doesn't have faith and he takes the name, Shraddhaya Helaya Va, Buruvari Naramatram Tarate Krishnam, it can deliver. So that is the glory of bhakti. Of course, this requires a quite elaborate explanation, which I did not go into because that will become out of context, but I did not. And then the pitfalls of karma and jnana. Yesterday we were discussing the pitfalls of karma and jnana. How karma, when you execute, if it is not done perfectly, no results. Not that 5% results or 10% results or 50%, no results. That's first thing. The second thing can happen is opposite results can come. And we saw the example of Vritrasura, manifesting from Twashta's yagya because of just, the intonation was not proper, not the pronunciation, intonation, instead of a Uddata, he chanted Anudatta or vice versa, I don't know. So no result, or it can result in opposite result, or completely a great trouble can come out. So we saw this. And then jnana, the qualification, the adhikar is that you should perform Nishkam Karma Yoga and you have to purify your heart. Then you're entering Gyan path. And while practicing Gyan, if you're, if there are impurity, then you have to go back to Karma Yoga, perfect Karma Yoga completely, and then come back to Gyan. So yesterday we saw that also. Yeah, I mentioned this. Yes, you have to go back to, hmm, and then uh, a practitioner of Gyan, even if he deviates, by Daivat, something happens. If he deviates, then Vantasi. And although Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa were great Gyanis, but you know, they were not at all praised. In fact, they were condemned. So, this is the heavy, heavy statement about Gyanis, that you are condemned. So, karma, there is faultless implementation, otherwise no result or opposite result. Jnana, purity of heart, you know, or you'll be criticized, you'll be a Vantasi. So, this is what yesterday we discussed. Now, this is a very, very important section, and devotees have to understand this very nicely and very carefully. And perhaps this is the most important section in this discussion. How bhakti doesn't even depend on purity or faith, especially purity, that even the material desires are not an obstacle on the path of bhakti. Especially when one performs karma, you know, if there are minor faults, then it will not give results. And in the path of jnana, if there is selfish desire, I mean, selfish desire means for the fruits. The desire for liberation is not considered as a selfish desire. Then there is no question of success in jnana or yoga. Hmm? And jnanis and yogis are condemned even for a slightest unworthy act. Hmm? And that leads to what? Completely they are fall down from the path. Now, bhakti is completely pure. It is swatantra. Hmm? And no devotee who is engaged in bhakti, in spite of being sinful or having material desires or having committed abominable activities or criminal activities, still bhakti, can manifest in his heart, and bhakti can give mercy and ultimately give prema. So this is what, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur is going to establish here, and this is a very important discussion. Bhaktes tu vikriditam vrajavadubir itya ado. Bhaktim param bhagavati pratilabhya kama hridroga ashu apahinoti achirena dhira. Bhagavad Puran 10:33-39. So he has not quoted the second line, ityado, but he has quoted the uh, third and the fourth line here. I'll just read. Anyone who faithfully and continually hears or describes the Lord's playful affairs with the young gopis of Vrindavan will attain the highest type of prema to the Lord, quickly destroy lust, the disease of the heart, and immediately become steady. 10:33-39. इति इत्य अत्र क्वा प्रत्ययेन हृद्रोगत्वे एव अधिकारिणी परमया अपि तस्या प्रथम एव प्रवेश ततस्ततैव परम स्वातंत्रया कामादीनाम अपगमश्च. On the other hand, one on the path of bhakti, though afflicted by lust, hridrogayatpatti, has the qualification to begin practice. Eva adhikarini paramaya. And just by the practice of bhakti, api, lust and other impurities are destroyed. Kamadinam apagamas. Now here, it's very important what he says. By the tense of the verb pratilabhya having attained in this verse, it is very clear. Bhakti first manifests in the stage where there is still lusty desires in the heart, and then after her manifestation, lusty desires are wiped out. This is due to the fact that bhakti is supremely independent, parama swatantra. Pratamam eva pravesha tata taya eva parama swatantra kamadinam akabamascha. So this is what it means. Pratilabhya means what it says, that although the heart is afflicted by lust, but still bhakti enters there, and after entering, it manifests, wipes off the lusty desires, and it will bestow prema to him. So this is the swatantra nature of bhakti. So this is a very, very beautiful discussion which is coming up. Okay, further. तेषां कदाचित् सत्त्वेऽपि अपि चेत् सुदुराचारो भजते माम् अनन्यभाक् भजते माम् इति बध्यमानोऽपि मद्भक्त भागवत पुराण 11, 14, 18 इत्य आबिदस् आदिभिः च तद्वतां न क्वापि शास्त्रेषु ninda leshopi. Now very, very important, this is for you to understand, and we'll go into detail as we discuss. Furthermore, though such impurities and karma may sometimes appear in the devotee, the scriptures never condemn that devotee at all. Shastreshu ninda leshopi. We should never condemn. And he quotes, Api chet tesham kadachit sattvepi api chet suduracharo. Api chet sudurachara is quoted here. And then Badhyamano api, that is quoted. Of course, we'll see these quotations in detail. And then he says, Ajamilasya Bhaktatvam Vishnu Duter Nirupitam. Ajamil's position as a devotee was accepted by the Vishnu Dutas. The Vishnu Dutas called him as he's a devotee because he's chanted the name of Narayan. And that bhakti, what Ajamil performed, was not a bhakti, it was bhakti abhas, a reflection of the bhakti, or namabhas, chanting what you say. And just by namabhas, he destroyed all the sins. And he had destroyed it before also, when he first named his son as Narayan. Bhakti had manifested in his heart, although he engaged in sinful activities. So that's the point also. Sanketam Bhagavan Nama Putra Sneha Anusangajam Itya Adi Drishtya Tad Abhasatam Api Ajamiladinam Bhaktatvam Sarve Sangeetam Eva. Even though people such as Ajamil utter the name of the Lord inadvertently, in Ajamil's case, out of affection for his son, they are universally praised as devotees. Sarve Sangitam Eva, that they are devotees. Bhaktatvam Sarve, even though they are chanting, must be considered namabhas, not pure. Tad abhasatam. That means it was bhakti abhas. It was not really in the nam chanted. Tadeva karma yoga adinam. Now he is comparing with karma. Karma yoga adinam. Antakarana shuddhi, dravya desha shuddhi, adaya, sadhakas tad vaigunyadayo, bhadaka bhaktistu prana dainya eveti. One's internal purity and the purity of place and materials are indispensable for accomplishment in karma, jnana, and yoga. Deficiencies in these areas obstruct progress on those paths. Bhakti, however, is the very life, very giver of life to these paths. Bhakti which gives life to karma, jnana, and yoga. Otherwise, they are lifeless. They can't even give results of their paths because bhakti is there, and that's why the first six chapters and the last six chapters of Bhagavad Gita deal with karma and jnana. And why bhakti is placed in the middle? Because if it is not in touch with bhakti, then karma is useless. Karma yoga without the element of bhakti is useless. So bhakti being in the middle gives life to karma and yoga. So he is again now re-emphasizing deeper these points. Therefore, All the paths are dependent. Sarvata paratantram eva tesham. Things which are truly independent are never dependent for their success or failure on anything else. Nahi swatantra kenapi sadhyante badhyante veti. That is, bhakti is truly independent. So that's why bhakti is not dependent on, failure to accomplish any of these. Look, antakaran shuddhi is not there in jnana. You cannot attain the goal. Whereas antakaran shuddhi is not there in bhakti. Still he'll get success. This is the glory of bhakti. Okay, so let's go into now the detail. Please stay tuned and carefully try to understand this. Bhaktestu vikriditam vrajavadubir ityado. Bhaktim param bhagavati pratilabhya kama. Rigdrog ashu apinoti apahinoti achirena dhira. इति अत्र क्वा प्रत्यय हृद्रोग एव अधिकारी परमया अपि तस्य प्रथम एव प्रवेशस्ततः तथैव परम स्वातंत्र्या कामादीनाम् अपगमश्च. On the other hand, on the path of bhakti, though afflicted by lust, has the qualification to begin the practice, and just by the practice of bhakti, lust and other impurities are destroyed. So I'm quoting this verse. विक्रीडितं व्रजवदो व्रजवदो विक्रीडितं व्रजवधूभिरिदं च विष्णु श्रद्धयान्वितो अनुसूयात् अतः वर्णयत्येय भक्ति परां भगवती प्रतिलभ्य कामम् हृद्रोग आशु अपनोति अचिरेण धीर. Anyone here who faithfully hears or describes Shraddhayanvito Anushuyat Atha Varnayat, the Lord's playful affairs. Vishnu idam vikriditam. With the young gopis of Vrindavan, Vrajavadu Bhir will attain the Lord's pure devotional service. Bhagavati Param Bhaktim Pratilabhya. Thus he will quickly become sober, Achirena Dhira, and conquer lust, the disease of the heart. Kamam Rid Rogam Apa Hinoti. Now, there are many things which we need to understand, and of course, elaborate discussion on this is not the uh, point of discussion here, but I would like to bring out two important things. Now, firstly, you can see that ultimately, who performed the Ras Leela? Who performed the Ras Leela? Anyone? Let us now go step by step. The Ras Leela, the Ras Panchadhyay, which is there in the 10th canto, 5 chapters, who performed it? Anyone who would like to answer? Was it Narayan or was it Hayagriv or was it who performed this? I'm asking a very simple question. I don't know why devotees are still not able to raise their hands. Yes, Mataji, Prasanna Lakshmi Mataji.
Krishna.
Krishna, everyone knows that, right? But
Yes.
what does Sukdev Goswami says here?
Vishnu.
Vikritam Vrajavadubir idam cha Vishnu.
Yeah.
The Lord's playful affairs, Vishnu. Why is then Sukdev Goswami addressing that as though Vishnu performed his pastime? And we know that Vishnu in Vaikunta or in this world as Shirodakshai or Garbhodakshai Vishnu or Mahavishnu doesn't perform pastimes. Even Narayan doesn't perform in the Vaikunta. So why is Sukdev Goswami addressing, you know, Krishna as Vishnu? What is the reason? What is the reason? Anyone? Anyone would like to think about it? Any thoughts on that? Let's hear some. Yes, Harsh Radha Mataji. Yes, yes. I've unmuted it.
So, Prabhuji, maybe because Hare Krishna Prabhuji, It's because Vishnu is the expansion of Krishna.
Vishnu is the expansion of Krishna.
Yes.
So, so why he could have Krishna performed the pastime, so he should have told Krishna. Why is he mentioning as Vishnu?
Also, and during the Ras Lila, afterwards, Krishna had appeared as Vishnu to the gopis.
Krishna never appeared as Vishnu, he appeared as
With
Narayan.
the four-handed Narayana. Okay.
So why, but why still mention Vishnu? Krishna performed, Krishna only performs Ras Leela. Okay, okay. It was good, but let's try to go deeper into what acharyas have to say. Yeah. Yes.
Hare
Uh,
Krishna Prabhuji.
yes.
Is it Vishnu by he's mentioning the super soul Vishnu aspect?
But Super Soul doesn't perform Ras Leela pastimes.
No, but he's
Super Soul
saying
is
like
neutral, Upadrashtacha Anumantacha, and yogis meditate on the Super Soul. The gopis don't meditate on Super Soul. The gopis relish the beauty of Krishna Sham Sundar.
then is it the all pervading sense of Vishnu?
But why
I'm
don't
just
you say
guessing.
all?
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I know all are going to guess. I want to all of you to guess. Yes, Sri Lalita Sumukhi Mataji.
Prabhuji, actually, Vishnu means who was present everywhere. So during Raslila, he was present. With this also, I am also guessing simply. He was present individually with each and every gopi, right? So
Okay.
omnipresent.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Good. I am happy that you tried. Now, there are two reasons the acharyas mentioned. One is it is actually Krishna only performed, but Sukdev Goswami says, Vikriditam Brajavadubhi idam cha Vishnu, although Krishna performed, to prove that actually, Krishna is not well known in the Shastras. He's very confidential. Vishnu is well known. Vishnu is well known. Vishnu is well known even to the demigods and in this world because Vishnu is there in this world as Shirodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and Karanodakshaya Vishnu. And uh, ultimately, the source of this Vishnu is Krishna. So, this establishes Krishna as superior to Vishnu, so in a deeper sense. And another internal meaning, you know, you all were focusing, was the all pervading, but the acharyas give a very confidential and a very, rasic commentary to the term Vishnu. Vishnu means one who, wish, no, you know, is one who, you know, one who can, Vishwa means the universe and the Anu, and can enter into the atoms, and he can enter into the hearts. He can enter into the heart of all the gopis and experience all their emotions. So that is a deeper sense, why here Vishnu is used. So it's a Krishna only, but it has a deeper meaning. Of course, this was a little out of context. Now, I wanted to discuss certain points before we go into Vishwanath Chakravarti commentary on this and his explanation and understanding. Uh, Firstly, the first point I would like to mention is that, you know, about there is adhikar for even hearing 10th canto. Please remember this. We have adhikar to hear Bhagavatam beginning from Janmadeyasya Atap. Although we are not Parama Nirmatsaranam, because we are conditioned. Bhagavatam will gradually purify us right from the first canto to the ninth canto. And in the ninth canto, there are pastimes which are specially speaking about the power of lust. the Shaubarimuni pastime, Yayati pastime, and King Pururava. Three powerful pastimes of how lust is so powerful. So that ultimately one is supposed to conquer lust and then enter into the spirit of the 10th canto to actually relish rasa, you know. And the rasa pancha, they are the topmost, you know. So it requires adhikar for one to uh, enter into and study this. So here the most important thing is that, you know, faithfully hears or describes. Now, especially if there are very exalted sannyasis, you know, very exalted devotees who uh, who are very pure at heart, when they describe these pastimes and we hear, it is very purifying. It is very purifying, and slowly the disease of the heart will, you know, to enjoy will subside. That is recommended. But if we don't have the adhikar and we, you know, try to read, especially the Ras Panchadhyaya, or especially sometimes today, you know, because of one thing, all the books are available online, and all these books are easily available in Vrindavan, and now you can order them also online. Many devotees who are in the beginning of their practices try to read books, you know, like the Govinda Leela or the, you know, uh, Geet Govinda, or, you know, the Lalit Madhav, Vidat Madhav, or even Ujjwala Neelmani. And I have observed this, and devotees have confided to me that after reading, they have become disturbed in their mind because they have, you know, the enjoying tendency, the bodily concept of the male and female, and the male wants to enjoy the female, or vice versa, whatever it is. So, because of that, they get afflicted and they deviate. So, it is best if these pastimes, you know, especially the Ras Panchadhyaya, as a sequence, you know, if you're, or by good fortune, you're able to hear from sannyasis, very exalted devotees like Radha Govind Maharaj, or anyone, you know, if you're hearing, then it is very purifying. So once Prabhupada disciple came to him and he was reading the Krishna book, you know, and reading the Ras Panchadhyay, this disciple was disturbed and he came to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada straight away told him that don't read, skip those chapters. So Prabhupada in the Krishna book, you know, gave us, you know, because Prabhupada knew the urgency. He wanted to, you know, devotees to relish Krishna. So he has given the philosophy as well as the pastimes in a very philosophical way so that gradually we get purified. So we need adhikar. We need adhikar to, you know, read Shastra. And the adhikar, especially for reading the Ras Panchadhyaya, is that one should be at least on the stage of Nishtha. So having said this, but, you know, the glory of Bhakti Devi is being discussed here. And that is why how Vishwanath Chakra Thakur is discussing this verse is very, very important. And we will now go into that. And then I will take up the verse. Now here what Vishwanath Chakra Thakur is saying, by the tense of the verb, pratilabhya, having attained in this verse, it is very clear Bhakti first manifests in the stage where there is still lusty desires in the heart, and then after a manifestation, lusty desires are wiped out. Pratilabhya here means that Bhakti manifests in the heart, and having manifested by what? Hearing. The first result is hearing and speaking about Krishna's pastimes, you know. And then gradually the disease of the heart is also destroyed, sorry. You know, this is due to the fact that bhakti is supremely independent. Why? Parama Swatantra. You know, and in the Vaishnava Toshini commentary on this verse, you know, Vaishnava Toshini is a commentary by Sanatan Goswami. He says, Atra tu hridaya rogapahanat purvam eva parama bhakti prapti tasmat parama balavad evedam sadhanam iti bhava. That the common principle is that first lusty and other material desires are destroyed. And then one attains prema bhakti. This is the common principle. Here, atra, however, the attainment of prema bhakti is described. Even though lusty desires still exist. Atra tu hridaya roga apahanat purvam eva parama bhakti. Parama bhakti is what? Prema bhakti still exists. This indicates that hearing or describing the Raslila is very powerful process of devotion by which one quickly attains prema bhakti. Tasmat parama balavad evedam sadhanam iti bhava. Now again I mentioned, there is adhikar, and now if if we feel that, oh, just by hearing the Raslila pastimes, prema bhakti will manifest, although my heart is inflicted with material desires. Let me now every day read it. But if we become disturbed reading it, then we better, don't read. Especially Krishna book we can read, but Krishna book also while reading, if we become disturbed, then we should skip. And Prabhupada in the Veda base, if you find out, Prabhupada very clearly speaks about it. But as a regular, like on Janmashtami, 7 days Katha, you hear some sannyasis giving on these pastimes of Krishna. Then when you hear, actually it is very purifying. So the sadhana bhakti uh, has to first manifest, because bhakti also is supremely independent. Sadhana bhakti is also independent. But before that stage, we are. So here, basically, it means that ultimately, even when one is on the stage of Nishtha, it's not that he is not free from lusty desires. He still has, but it is subsided completely. Almost. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu. Nityam bhagavata sevaya. So for him, and he has taste for practicing the angas of bhakti, and he gradually, by attaining ruchi, asakti, then he'll attain bhava. So that is how we need to understand this very, very important point. And then further he says, the Goswami explains here that the word parabhakti refers to the most exalted prema bhakti that exists in the Vrajagopis. So it ultimately a very, very exalted platform. This is the point I want to make. Now, regarding this, only this aspect, I will take up the question. The second aspect is very important, and I would like to go into that. Apichet Sudaracharo. But before that, any questions you have about up till now what we have discussed? Any questions, any clarifications? One hand has been raised, so only one question I'm going to take up. Any other one? Any other devotees have any questions? No? Okay. Yes, Dev Krish Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dhanapana. Prabhu, this verse 10:30, 33, 39, in this verse, Prabhu, it is mentioned, Shraddhanvito Anusrungayad Atha.
Yes.
Prabhu, here it is mentioned about Shraddha, who faithfully hears. And
Yes.
earlier we read one verse, Sakrit Aparigitam Shraddhaya Helayava.
Yeah.
So there we are saying whether it is without faith or Helaya, whatever, but here we are specifically saying Shraddhanvito. So how do we reconcile to?
No, see, there you have to understand that, see, every verse which is quoted, it is quoted in a particular context and to establish a particular principle. Now, Bhakti can give fruits without having faith also. If it is performed without faith also, it can give fruit. That is the supreme power of bhakti. So that is why Shraddhaya Helana. Helana. Now, that's why I said, na, Helana means, one derisively takes a name or out of joking, whatever. And although he doesn't have faith, actually is committing offense, but still bhakti will give its fruits. But for sadhakas who have faith, who have taken up to the process, if they are chanting the name, without attention, then bhakti will not give the result because of offenses. So there, to bring out that principle that how bhakti doesn't even depend on faith, that was quoted. Now here, that is why when I mentioned, Shraddhayanvito, faithfully hears. Shraddhaya Anvito. So this is definitely referring to sadhakas. And in that also there is, as I mentioned, somebody um, who who's on the stage of Nishta will be attracted to these pastimes, and gradually his Ridhrogam will go away and he'll attain Ruchi, Asakti and Bhava. That's Prema also. Bhava means Prema, one sense. In one sense, huh? Don't take it again literally. But those who are having anarthas, that is why I mentioned this point that they have to hear as it comes upon its own accord. Like there is a 7 days Bhagavatam, and as a series, some sannyasi speaking, and you hear that will actually, the anarthas will get subsided. You will further, you know, that's why the Rasalila Tattva has to be understood. Otherwise, it is, it can, if we don't understand the Tattva, then we can mistake it, you know, why Krishna is only enjoying, and we meet common people, why did Krishna marry 16,108 queens? When he asked this question, why I cannot also marry, and enjoy like that. The whole enjoying tendency is there. So that Ridrogam for us also as sadhakas who are not, actually at that platform of Naishtiki Bhakti, even for them it will act. But if somebody, as a regular sadhana starts doing this and he's, you know, getting disturbed by reading it, then it is not good. It's not healthy for his spiritual life. So he'll have to, consult his spiritual master and do the needful. So that's why I mentioned these points. I hope it is clear, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. There is one more question, Sunita Mataji. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhupada.
Yes.
One question that what are the signs of a person who has achieved prema bhakti?
Oh, we need not go into that now. Somebody who has achieved Nishta, if you know the signs, that's sufficient for us. We need not go to Prema. When somebody
Okay.
has achieved Nishta means no lie. No lie means, he doesn't feel any sleep, whether it is in hearing, chanting, hearing Krishna Katha or during Kirtan. Hmm? Absolutely no lie. Ignorance doesn't affect him at all. On the other hand, if he's completely exhausted and it is late in the night, moment he touch his bead and start chanting, he is fully absorbed in chanting. That is laya. Vikshepa means nothing distracts him. He's hearing the Bhagavatam class, there is some other noise, but his absorption, his mind is so much absorbed in the Bhagavatam that distraction will not trouble him. Hmm. Apratipatti means, there is no laya, there is no vikshep, but you are still not able to absorb in hearing and chanting. So he's free from that. And kashaya means, the previous qualities of anger, greed, all that, will be not there in his heart. And ras aswad means enjoying sense objects. So he's free from that. So these are the symptoms. If somebody attains this stage, he's very, very exalted and is soon going to attain ruchi, asakti, and bhava ultimately is bestowed by the Lord. The Lord will test a lot, and that will come to very soon now. Very soon that discussion will come. Okay? Is it okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Then there are symptoms of bhava also. There are 9 symptoms of bhava. But again, it is far, very, very exalted for us to think. Nishta is what we should, our ultimately love of God is there, but Nishta is where we should really, our goal should be there to attain Nishta. From there, the path is, very smooth. Okay. So now let's go to the last second aspect. This is what bhakti does. He has mentioned that. Now he quotes this. Tesham kadachit satve api. Furthermore, even though such impurities and calm may sometimes appear in devotee, the scripture never condemns that devotee at all. And he quotes, Api chet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhag sadur eva samantavya samvyak vyavastito hi sa. So Vishnu Chakra Thakur has given a very, very wonderful commentary on this, and I did not want to go into that commentary because that will take a lot of time. But in essence, I'm explaining that in this verse, Krishna is actually not condoning sinful activities, apichet suduracharu, but he is bringing out the glories of exclusive devotion, ananya bhak, exclusive devotion. This is what he's bringing. And Krishna in this verse is revealing his affection for his devotees. And his affection for his devotees is natural and spontaneous. And it doesn't go away even if a devotee commits sinful activities. And instead of abandoning that devotee, Krishna elevates him. And what kind of devotee he is? That devotee is what? He is. Okay, I'll just take the different color pen. That devotee is what? He is. Okay, still the color is not coming. Okay. Ananya Bhak. So this Ananya Bhak, his exclusive devotee, his Ananya Bhak means does not worship demigods. Does not worship demigods, nor take shelter of karma, jnana, or yoga. So this is Ananya Bhak meaning. Or he does not take any other path. And there is a deeper meaning to Ananya Bhak, which means no desire other than serving Krishna. Now these three, especially, if a sadhaka is practicing and is, he's still not purified, anartha nivritti has not happened, he is also in one sense Ananya Bhak. He is also in one sense Ananya Bhak. But even a pure devotee who is practicing pure devotional service, he is Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. So for such a pure devotee, there is no question of committing any durachar act, because sin doesn't reside in his heart, because he's an Ananya Bhakta. He's a Ananya Bhakta. But sometimes, what can happen? Because of Daiva. Daiva. What can happen? Sorry. Because of Daiva, because of previous life conditioning, or bad association, he might also commit something abominable. Otherwise, Ananya Bhak, he, he's a, he's practicing Ananya Bhakti or Shuddha Bhakti. He has no other desire than the desire to serve Krishna. But by Daiva, because of conditioning or bad association, or accidentally, even if he commits anything, still he's a sadhu. Sadhu eva samantavya. This is very, very important for us to understand. And Krishna says what? These sinful tendencies cannot last because bhakti is present in his heart. Because of bhakti's immense power, what will happen? Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijani name bhakta pranashyati. By the presence of devotion in the heart of the devotee and his fire of repentance, very quickly he gets purified. Shipram bhavati dharmatma. He gets purified. Now, these two verses have to be understood very carefully. But if one, understood that apichet suduracharo and, Krishna saying this, if one deliberately commits sin, then what happens? And not only commits sins, he does not repent for it. Then what happens? Anyone? Bir Krish Prabhuji, yes.
So it falls in category of namno balat pap buddhi.
Falls in the Namaparad category, which one?
Namno balat pap buddhi.
Namno baladhiyasya papa buddhi. So he commits actually aparad. He completes aparad and he'll become more sinful. Instead of getting purified, he'll get more contaminated or putrefied, you can say. So, one has to take shelter of the holy name. One cannot cheat Nam Prabhu. And by the mercy of Nam Prabhu and by the association of devotees, slowly he will get purified. Otherwise, he is not going to get purified. So this has to be very, very understood, clearly understood. Now, having understood this glory of bhakti, let's, he gives a third verse also, Badyamano Api, he has given this here. Bhagavad Puran, Api Chet Suduracharo, and he has not quoted Shipram Bhavati Paramatma, but I quoted it, and he has quoted this, Badyamano Api. Bhadyamanopi madbhakto vishayar ajitendriya praya pragalbaya bhaktya vishayar na abhibhuyate. If my devotee, madbhakta, has not conquered his senses, ajitendriya, he may be harassed by material desires, vishayar badhyamanapi, but because of his generally strong bhakti, praya pragalbaya bhaktya, he will not be defeated by sense gratification. Vishayar na abhi uyate. So this is also Krishna who is quoting this. Now, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur, in his commentary to this, he says, even if the devotion here, even if this devotion, it is in this verse, it is mentioned, it is not strong. Only by strong devotion, what happens? He will not be defeated. But what Vishwanath Chakra Thakur says in his commentary to the Bhagavatam to this, he says that even if somebody has no strong devotion, but he has just, some superficial, he says, superficial contact with devotion. That means he has simply bhaktyabhas. This is called as bhaktyabhas. Still he is considered as a devotee. So this is very, very important. And this liberal, considerate Acharya who is commenting like this cannot be, taken out of context and engage more in sense gratification and think that, ultimately I'm a devotee. No, then you're cheating yourself and you cannot cheat Bhakti Devi nor you cannot cheat Nam Prabhu. So that is the important point here, still is considered as a devotee. Now, how he is considered as a devotee still, for that, he's going to quote the Ajamil pastime, but I just want to bring, this is not there in the Madhurya Kadambini, the contrast, the comparison with the Bhakta, and the Jnani. So in the 11th canto, verses 18th chapter, verses 40 and 41, it is mentioned, one who has not controlled the six forms of illusion, yes to asamyata shadvarga, lust, anger, greed, excitement, false pride, and intoxication. Prana Chandendriya Sarati, whose intelligence, the leader of the senses, is extremely attached to material things, who is bereft of knowledge and detachment. Jnana Vairagya Rahitas, Tridandam Upajivati, who adopts the sannyas order of life to make a living. Suran Atmanam Atmastam, who denies the worshipable demigods, his own self, and the Supreme Lord within himself. Ninute Mam Cha Dharmaha, Avipapko Kashayo Asmat, Amushmat Cha Vihiyate. Thus, ruling all religious principles, who is still infected by material contamination, is deviated and lost both in this life and next. So here you can see in the path of Gyan, if you have not controlled your six senses, he is materially contaminated, he is deviated, lost in this life and next. So in the path of Gyan, this is there. And in the path of Gyan, okay, where is my pen? Yeah. To attain perfection, the heart should be free from lust. Otherwise, what happens? There is purity of heart required. And the obstacle here is lust itself. And if that obstacle is present, then what it is, hey, he's deviated, he's lost completely. But whereas in the path of bhakti, even lust is present, bhakti will manifest there. Bhakti will purify the lust and give him prema. So just see the glory of bhakti. So in the path of bhakti, I'll bring out this here now. In the part of bhakti, what? Bhakti also requires purity of heart to manifest. Please remember that, for the Bhakti Devi to manifest, complete purity of the heart is required. And there are lusty desires, we have lusty desires. So, purity of heart, not an obstacle. You hear and chant, and gradually Bhakti Devi will manifest. Bhakti will manifest. And this shows, that Bhakti is independent of karma and gyan. Bhakti is not dependent on all these other factors, you know. Neither Bhakti can, depend on, Bhakti is not obstructed by these things. Cannot be obstructed by lust or anything. And neither Bhakti, mm, you know, uh, neither anything can stop it. It's unstoppable. So this is the independent nature of bhakti. So this is why I've quoted this comparison just. Now we will come to the last part. Ajamilasya bhaktatvam Vishnu duter nirupitam. The servants of Vishnu judged Ajamila as a devotee. Although he chanted Namabhas, it is Bhaktyabhas. It was not, his devotion was not like powerful, Pragalbaya, but still the Vishnu Dutas addressed him as, a devotee. He was calling his son's name. Sanketam Bhagavannam Putra Sneha Anusangajam Itya Adi Drishtya Tad Abhasatam Api Ajamiladinam Bhaktatvam Sarve Sangeetam Eva. Though the chanting of the persons like Ajamil, though who uttered the name of the Lord inadvertently out of affection for his son, must be considered namabhas, not pure, still they are universally praised as devotees. So, in fact, if somebody, is having sinful desires or lusty desires and is trying to sincerely practice, if you find fault with him, that is also aparadh. And if he commits any abominable activity, if you criticize him, you are committing aparadh. So devotees have to be very careful about it, understanding this glory of bhakti. At the same time, one should not take these verses as license and do anything in the name of devotee, then he is not a devotee of good standing also. That's what also Prabhupada in his commentary to the Bhagavad Gita mentions. Tad evam karma yogadinam antakarana shuddhya dravya desha shuddhya adaya sadhakastu vaigunyadayo badaka bhaktistu pranadainya eva. Internal purity and purity of place, materials are not necessary for accomplishments of karma, of the karmis, gyanis and yogis, and their deficiency obstructs progress on those paths. So no internal purity in bhakti, it doesn't obstruct the path of bhakti because bhakti is independent. There's no internal purity in jnani, it obstructs him. Bhakti, however, is the very life giver of those paths. Bhakti gives life to them, those paths. Sarvata paratantram evatesham. Thus it is seen in all respects that the path of karma, yoga and gyan are dependent on bhakti. So the full independent nature of bhakti is again being established by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Okay. Na hi swatantra kenapi sadhyate badhyate e veti. Bhakti, however, is independent. It neither requires any other means for its execution, nor it is obstructed by any lack or fault. Bhakti doesn't require any other means of execution. It is bhakti only you have to execute. Not that for bhakti, to get bhakti, you should execute gyan. So that he'll bring out now. Bhakti is not one of the means of retaining gyan. Bhakti doesn't require gyan for its execution, nor it is obstructed by anything. So that's the discussion on this verse. So any questions? Although it's time up, but this second part, anyone has any questions I would like to take up? Any questions, any clarifications? Uh, yes, Bir Krish Prabhuji. Yeah, I've unmuted it.
Hare Krishna.
Mm.
So, when we say when we say when we say that bhakti is completely independent and does not depend on, I mean, it is completely pure. So sometimes we advocate for uh, taking support of Varnashram duties and all those all things. So in that context, why do we advocate for these paths? If bhakti is completely independent, it can do, I mean, nullifies all
That is,
impurity.
you have to understand, that Shuddha Bhakti. When we are speaking about Shuddha Bhakti, like we discussed about Satviki Bhakti. Satviki Bhakti is Jnana Angabhuta, so that the Jnani can attain liberation. Similarly, when somebody is practicing Mishra Bhakti, then he can be within the Varnashram, not exactly the Varnashram, the Daivi Varnashram, by which he can attain, that Shastriya Shraddha. श्रद्धा शब्द विश्वास सुदृढ़ निश्चय कृष्ण भक्ति कहले सर्व कर्म कृत होए, so that he can lead a pure life. And if you are practicing the angas of bhakti, like hearing and chanting and doing your duties, work for maintaining your livelihood, but you have been committing, you're not, I mean to say, you're not earning your means of livelihood by a proper means. By proper means, you are doing all illegal activities, illicit activities, frauds. So that will affect your, that is papa. It is going to affect your conditioning. And that conditioning will become an obstacle for you to hear or chant. But once you attain Shuddha Bhakti, then these will not become an obstacle. But you have not attained Shuddha Bhakti. So these, limbs of Varnashram which are favorable to devotional service, that is what is called as Daivi Varnashram. We can take them so that ultimately they act as a stepping stone to take up to Shuddha Bhakti. So that is the point. I hope it is clear to you.
Yeah, bro, but when we talk of bhakti, we talk of Shuddha Bhakti only. Na? We don't talk
Yeah,
about
but
Mixed
but
Bhakti.
are we practicing Shuddha Bhakti? That's the point.
And that's the question.
That's the point. Are we practicing Shuddha Bhakti?
Right.
So if we are practicing Shuddha Bhakti, then there is, Shuddha Bhakti means, you are not affected by the conditionings, the modes. How many of us are there who are on that platform, liberated platform, who can just all the day sit and chant and absorb, like Haridas Thakur or like, the Goswamis? How many
But
of us
bro,
are
my point was that for coming out of the mode, uh, for coming out of the mode, I mean, taking shelter of Varadasam, is it required or not? That's it.
No, basically you have whatever, given in the situation, whatever favorable circumstances are there, that we can adopt given in the situation. Leading
Principle of Anukulasi Sankalpa
more a life based on in a pure environment where you're getting the livelihood based on pure means, that will not affect your sabhav or conditionings of the, even telling lies, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says is a sin. And if keep on committing, and I know many devotees, they have spoiled their practices because of getting implicated in all these karmic reactions. So they are losing the chance to take up to Shuddha Bhakti. So the chances of you, taking up to Shuddha Bhakti is more favorable. Like given in the city environment, if you are near a temple or a community where you can attend morning programs, you can get more chance to hear and chant, then that will be favorable for your, you know, attaining of Shraddha, Shastriya Shraddha. So whatever is favorable, we'll have to take there, given in the situation. That's the point. That's the principle.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Understood.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll stop here, and tomorrow we will take up another, I think only another 2, 3 points are there. He's going to last establish. So another 2 classes will require, and we'll try to finish it. We'll go slow. We are not in a hurry. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Vishwanath Sagar Thakur ki jai. Shri Rup Goswami Pad ki jai. Shri Madhurya Kadambini ki jai. Hare Krishna.